Obviously, a very difficult loss, as I said after the game. Tough loss. I thought our team did a lot of really good things in some areas where we fell short. So we got to really improve, get back to work, and do the things necessary to put ourselves in position to win. Got a team that's banged up. We got to get healed, get some rest, have a lighter practice today, and then get back to work with a physical practice tomorrow, and get ready to play a very good South Carolina team, a team that is much improved. They've had a tough SEC schedule, and I'm sure very hungry to come in here and get a victory, and we need to get back to work.
Physically, how well did Chris Rodriguez handle just his first game back?
It was good. I think late in the game I felt like, his legs were a little bit, he was a little, I guess, winded or game shape. You could run all the hills you want, run sprints until you get in there and get in the games with the energy and amped up and all that. Just getting a feel for it was good, and he responded well. He handled it.
Do you think there's a kind of adjustment period too for Rich, just to know, all right, here we got this guy, here's how we can use him in the right spots? Is there a feeling out period?
No, I think he knows that. He's watched a ton of film, and we had him all spraying all summer, and when things were unknown, we've been working with them. So,
Mark, considering the streak you guys have been on, it was obvious to me that Carolina Ole Miss had to give you their best shot to win that game. And do you feel that the bullseye on Kentucky's back is getting any bigger? Considering the streak you guys have been on?
I don't know about that. I think, yes. Anytime you're ranked in the top 10, you're going to get everybody's attention and get a great game. I really, how do I say this without getting blasted? I really thought it was a great game, even with the mistakes that we made. We made mistakes that I'm not proud of, and that we need to coach better and do a better job. But it was a great environment. It was a great game. And I thought both teams played their tails off. Played hard and was competitive and, stressed each other. And, it was a really good football game. And it stinks to come up on this end, believe me. But we talked a lot about preparing for the difficult environment, doing all those things, and the guys were dialed in. And we talked about the pride in our performance at the end of the day when we put on the tape, and that was off the charts. And the third element, most important, was perfect execution, and we didn't have that. And the pride in performance, I feel, because I love the way our team played. I really do. In adversity and mistakes and all that, the belief and the ability to drive it right back down there and put ourselves in a position to win that game after some of those unforced errors was great to see our team respond. Again, I wish we would have finished it, and that's really ultimately that's how you're judged. I know that, and at the end of the day, it's either a win or a loss, and it's a loss, and nobody feels good about that. But I love the competitive nature of this team.
What's the message to Will just after the game and the way it ended there?
Again, I wouldn't trade him for anybody. I just love his competitive nature. I love his ability. I love the way he's playing. At that moment, it was just wanting to calm him down, put my arm around him, tell him I loved him and I love the way he plays, and and just take a moment, to breathe and relax, because obviously emotions get high. And, he did some amazing things to put us in position there again. If you look at the first play, and these are, just like I told you a week ago, the throw that was incomplete, and this one, the first play of the last possession, just dropped an absolute dime, and we couldn't reel it in. And, you can't possibly throw a better football. So he had 6 incompletions and at least one 50-50 ball, was 150-50 and 2 drops.
Mark, what was your defense doing in the second half that maybe you had trouble with in the first half? I think you held them to only 1 first down in the second half.
I'm not sure what the stats were, but I think the big thing was even in the first half, we had opportunities to get off the field and we didn't get off. And then we sold out on a pressure and got creased on the long run. And when you have dynamic backs like that, and that's one that we could say, hey, okay, we took a shot and tried to get off the field and they hit us. And they have very, very talented backs, and they do a nice job up front, and they creased us. And I think that's the big difference. Obviously there's always a time when you're playing tempo teams to get a feel for it, to where we could get lined up, get set, and get going. And I think the second half we settled in, but we got off when we could. We gave them a couple critical third downs early in both of those touchdown drives. And I'm not sure if it was one of those touchdown drives or not. It wasn't not an excuse, but at one point we did the volume. We couldn't relay Brad's call to the signalers, and our guys are sitting there looking at us, and it was more of our headsets. So, but I think guys just settled in and played good. We played really hard, both sides. Again, it's just the execution. I've been harping on it. I got to look at it. We got to look at the way we coach and everything. And we cut down on penalties. I think we had 4, but here's the deal. At the end of it, the last 3 drives, when we all know we came up short, we had a penalty on each drive.
You talked about the belief earlier in this team, but I know if you kind of go through your time at Kentucky, the losses can one can turn into 2. So how do you keep the belief high? Do you gloss over the mistakes? Do you hammer hard with it? How do you keep them?
No, I mean we'll just it'll be very business-like today. I mean these guys are mature and can handle it. We'll coach them. We'll show them the good, the bad, and the areas where we fell short. I think I'm really not. I mean I will coach against it and guard against it and talk about it. But one of the first things I said in the locker room was 1 can't become 2. Just everybody's heated and emotional in a big game like that, and our guys know the belief is there. I think the intensity needs to come back as you get into Game 6. We 6, right? Yeah. You get into Game 6 without a break, and then we're getting banged up. And we have to make sure I find the right balance of continuing to play with that edge, play with the intensity, and continue to try to improve on being physical. I think we are improving, and but also have enough juice in the tank. As you get down, into the middle of this section before we get a break. Get a little bye to try to get some guys healed up.
Mark, you are giving up a lot of tackles for loss. How do you go about fixing this? Because it seems like it keeps being week by week issue, or is it just how teams are playing? It's just something you're going to have to deal with.
Well, I mean, there's always a variety of things that fall into that, whether we put them in a position, whether it's the configuration of a play, the setup, the call, execution, you name it. There's a lot of things that go into that. And, I think there's some give and take. We're creating more explosives, and we need to continue to create explosives. And a lot of analytics will tell you that explosive plays are, extremely important too. We're doing a better job. We need to continue to create some.
Do you have an update on Jacquez? And I know Will finished the game, but how's the finger?
Pardon me?
I know Will finished the game, but how is the finger?
It's fine. I mean, I don't know. I mean, how would your finger be if it was sideways and you put it back in, and you know what I mean? But it doesn't need surgery. Let's put it that way. So that's a great thing.
And Jacquez?
Yeah. He's banged up. We'll see.
What about JJ?
Getting better.
Chances we'll see him this week?
Chances we'll see him. Mm-hmm.
Mark, the turnovers in the red zone, is there anything in particular with those that's a theme, or is it just kind of a fluke that those have happened sometimes?
Well, I mean, you saw the plays. I mean, the run was a great run, and it's unfortunate where and how he got hit. We don't like our runners to ever get spun. I think he knows he was going for the yardage and took a good initial shot, and then got turned a little bit and sometimes those things happen in football. I think you know that and understand that and see that. And then there's other times when you're reckless with the ball. I don't think he was reckless with the ball at all. I think he got spun in a tough physical game, took a good shot in an unfortunate position. And, the second one, unfortunate because we throw a touchdown pass the play before and are a half second, late in getting set. And then, we give up the pressure. We got to look at that, whether it's structure, whether, the play we had designed. We had a shot at it. We chipped to protect the tackle and had a great chip. That's something we got to look at. Do we lean on it a little longer? Do we not release them at all? Do we give them that time? Does Will, throw the ball? There's a lot of things that go into that.
Josiah didn't play Saturday. Do you anticipate him to be available?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
How did you evaluate Justin and Dion in that spot? And just the Dion in general against that tempo?
I thought Justin played one of his better games that he's played here. He played a lot of snaps, and in that kind of tempo is always concerning going into the game because of, as I mentioned last week, just the tempo, getting in rhythm and getting the D linemen, getting their cleats in the ground and then getting their proper reads and keys. And we weren't perfect on that by any stretch. But I thought Justin really did some good things. And then Dion as well. He played a lot of snaps. And for that type of tempo, to see him in the first time in an environment, on the road with a high tempo team, I thought he really played. He did some good things.
Against these two SEC teams, you played very run heavy, I guess, Florida and Ole Miss. You had to be really worried about the run. Do you think that's maybe holding your pass rush back a little bit, that you all can't, pin your ears back and just go, or is that something you think?
I think there's a mixture of things. Getting them in, predictable pass, getting up, things like that help you, with getting the pass rush going. And, first, second down with the structure of our defense, it's difficult, for us to create pressure unless we have some different movements and pressures and things of that nature. But, the first play of the game, we have an opportunity for a sack and miss it. We never leave our feet, and especially with a quarterback that can elude you. So, that's just a situation where, again, the first play of the game, I sure would like to be take a 7-yard loss instead of a 6-yard game.
What have you seen from Spencer Rattler on film?
Very good player. Watched Spencer obviously for his time at OU and then the time at South Carolina, but very talented quarterback. I like what they do with them. I like their offense and creating some time off play action, and very talented arm, can make all the throws, and very good player.
How have you seen the offense, or South Carolina's offense, change or grow or whatever it might be, so now that the running back's starting to consistently move?
Yeah, I really think a lot of Marshawn as well. I think he's, a really good player. And I think they're doing a good job of creating some movement up front and, really laying on some doubles, getting some movement, getting him started because he's such a talented back. And he really just runs hard. He's just a very good player, complete player, good in the pass game as well. So, yeah, I mean, they're doing a lot of things, and are they different? I'm not sure. I mean, they're getting in some empty. They still, use some 11, some of 12 personnel. They do a nice job with their play passes on first, second down to give them some time to get the ball down the field and create some space, taking some vertical shots. Like everybody, they're going to put pressure on you.
Mark, they've gotten a big pickup, it seems, from their special teams so far this year. It's been a little bit of a struggle for you all. How big of a challenge will that be facing off against them?
Well, that's a difficult question for me to answer because, if I say I'm pleased with my special teams, you all will laugh at me and put headlines in the news. There's a lot of phases to special teams. The 4 core, we call it, kickoff, return, punt, return. We're pretty darn solid. pretty impressive. You know, we have 2 block punts. We have kickoff return has got a chance to go to the house every time. I mean, that's pretty hard to do. And, you know, kickoff coverage has been damn good. I think we had one in maybe the YSU game or one of those games that spit out a little bit. And so, you know, there's phases of it that are as good as we've ever had. And then there's the snappers, the kickers, and the holders. So how do you define that? You know, I really don't know either. You know what I mean? You got the 4 core, and then you have they're all part of it. So we need to do what we do. Our guys have done that thousands of times correctly. Snapped, held, and kicked. Very good.
Mark,
And that Saturday is not good. Not, you know, kind of embarrassing. And so we gotta get those things cleaned up and do the routine.
Mark, on the long snap, is there a mechanical issue, or is it all like having these yips?
Well, I don't want to get into too many things, you know, with that, but you know, yeah, he's been a little banged up too, so we got to get him healthy and get him snapping, you know.
Mark?
I didn't think that the hold. I thought that was more on the hold on the extra point. I mean, it was a fraction low, but we do that all the time. He got to make that hold. Just got to get it and set it like we always do. Because I thought live it was the snap as well, but really watching the tape, I mean, it was right off the ground. I mean, you just got to catch it and put it down.
One thing about the special team, Goodfellow was really good. Really good.
Yeah, I mean, the net was. I mean, we only had 2 punts. I want to say a 53 and I don't know what it was.
51-5, I think was there.
Yeah, 51-5. I mean, pretty good.
Mark, on Berrion's 2 kickoff returns, is that just pure speed, or is he getting blocks to spring them?
Well, you know, there's the areas where we need to improve on that is the scary thing. Because we felt like there were some guys that didn't do a good job on that, but then there was enough that gave them the crease. And so, you know, we got to really pat the guys on the back that are doing a good job of really giving the guy a chance. Because if you give him a chance, he could hurt you. And there's some guys that need to step up and improve.
What did you see from De'Aaron after you guys went down?
D-Jack, we have a lot of confidence in him. You know, I thought there were parts of this game that we didn't play as good as we're capable of. You know, and I've said that going into it, that was a big key, was the deception. And with that, just formation, motion, split zone, you know, all the fits can be a lot when it's going fast. And I don't think we were as clean as we have been.
Mark,
Not just with him, but with a lot of the guys. A play here, a play there with each of the guys.
Getting back to your kicking, nothing's automatic, but you've been about as consistent as anybody in the league in field goals and extra points with Mark. He misses one that's in his range. And now the other problems. Are you concerned about that getting into his head?
I am, because I just, you know, and that's why I don't overcoach him in the game. You know, you look at it, he hit the kick good. You know, he hit it good. It came a little left. It was very gusty down there. I think you guys all felt that when you were out there. It was very gusty, and I thought he hit a good kick. So I don't want to overreact to that. What am I going to tell him? I mean, kick the damn ball through the outlet. I mean, you know, we're only allowed so many coaches, man. You know what I mean? It's not like a golf person can have like an expert. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not allowed to have somebody here just teaching the mechanics of that.
Mark, does that have to go in your mind on those last 2 drives about whether you're in the range to kick at that point, and how do you factor that in?
No, not at that point. I have all the no. We were ready. It wasn't. There were moments where I think I told you post game that I was set to go for it on a couple. You know, just with the way the game was going and just your thoughts, you know, on it. But at that point, for sure, we take the 3 and have a lot of confidence that he'll make it. You know, he's had the guts and made a lot of crucial kicks, and you know, I think, you know, to Dick's point, I think just you don't want one thing to get in your mind and creep in, you know, with these guys. They've done it well, and you know, just got to put it behind you and move on.
The locker room after the game, after a tough loss, such as it was, you had a couple opportunities to win it, kind of feel like shit.
Yeah, I think the guys were you know, as you would expect, I mean, we have strong leadership. They were emotional. It was hard, but really quickly just turns to, you know, they said it before I did. Can't let it hurt us next week. Get back to work. Our goals are right in front of us, and you know, so they'll respond the right way.
Resolve.
Pardon me?
Not resolve.
Yes, sir.
Mark,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you're not allowed to have so many coaches. How much better would it be for you if you were allowed to have more coaches? Not so much.
Well, I think that's the $1,000,000 question nationally. I think that everybody's always talking about that, you know, and you know, we have plenty of support, and our administration is great with that, and you know, we have enough guys. I mean, no matter how many they give you, I'm not sure anybody's going to have an exact, you know what I mean, person to, you know, kickers have their own kicking coaches, you know, that they work with on their own, and kind of like a golfer would, you know, on the mechanics and the little things. And certainly we have guys on our staff that have some expertise and some coaching, you know, that could help them and things. But you know, mostly it's you know, that's on me. So if anybody's looking for somebody to blame, you could blame me. You know, so.
Mark, with the offensive line, I think some people expect in the summer you'd boost that in the portal like you did the secondary. Is that just a position where it's harder to find impact transfers, or were you really comfortable with everything you had there?
Well, I think, you know, we were, you know, obviously exploring options, you know, and you know, I think with, you know, some of the things we've gone through without going through, you know, what we went through with John, you know, was tough, and then we had turnover, you know, that doesn't exactly put you in the best position, but that's no excuse. We got guys that are plenty capable. You know, there's things that we could do better and coach better and play better, and there's some things that they're really improving on, doing some really good things. It's a shame Flaxey went down later, because I thought he was physical as heck and starting to really move people and play hard, and you know, so you know, I think that was coming together, you know, better, you know. Sorry, John.
I was just gonna ask how you thought they played overall.
Yeah, I think, you know, we you know, you look at it and you give up, you know, 3 sacks against a team again that was bringing it from all over, and you know, it just comes down to, as I tell the team, I've told you, you know, there's 1 or 2 plays that can change the outcome of a game, but it's not always the most obvious ones. It's not just the ones that everybody, you know, can remember. There's things that happen in that game that, you know, like we have a screen, that we have pressure, we dump it, we have a hat on a hat. I mean, I'm not saying it's a definite touchdown, but there's a really good chance that's going to be a touchdown, and it's not. Instead, I believe we get 0. You know, so those are the things, you know, you just can't do in a really good 2 top 10, top 15 teams playing on the road in the SEC. I mean, you know, I know it's a broken record, but it's true. It's just the execution of things like that, and that's routine. You know, when you have a routine play dialed up, set, and do it, and you know, you got to make the routine look routine, and you know, so you know, it's just things of that nature that you know, we just fell short.
It's also, I mean, you've got a strong arm quarterback who can really drive the ball down the field. You've got speed at receivers who can get down the field. Those plays take a little longer to develop, and that puts more pressure on the offensive line. Also, Will's got to have pocket awareness about when to give, you know, that clock in his head. How much of that playing into what we're seeing?
It's true, and we are a better drop back passing team than certainly in my time here, right? I mean, I can't go back to Tim and, you know what I mean, and all the great ones we've had here for a while ago. But for us in my tenure here, it's the best drop back passing we've had. You know, that doesn't mean we're the best in the world. I'm not saying we're perfect or anything like that, but we're far better at throwing the football than we've ever been. And we have a dynamic quarterback. Well, as a defensive coach, if you drop back pass, you know, you feel like really good teams we're playing. I mean, they're gonna create some problems for you. You know, so to have, you know, 3 sacks in that game, I'm not going to overreact to that. Now, to get the sack and to get the safety, that's unacceptable. You know, whether it's us, you know, it's play calling, putting them in position where we're doing, you know, after we get it off the 6-inch line, we have to look at that possession. That possession bothers me because we get it off the 6-inch line, we get a first down, and then we still get a safety. You know, that's not good football there.
Do you think, I know Will's a big physical guy, but do you think any of that those hits are starting to wear on them at all?
Well, I think they wear on anybody. I mean, but not just Will. I mean, look at our football team. What do you think? How do you think they feel? You know what I mean? That it's a tough game, and Will is tough as nails. He's but yeah. I mean, it takes its toll. I mean, but that would ask any quarterback in our league. Ask Dart how he feels today. You know what I mean? And he's a really good player, and they're as hard as anybody in our league to get to sack them. But it's still a physical game.
We saw Berrien step out last week. Dane has a lot as well as much as this year as well. How important is it in recruiting when you can show that these guys are coming in and making an impact early? We saw even multiple SEC of the week, Freshman of the Week awards. How important is that going forward?
Well, it's really important. I think that's with the explosive plays that we're creating, with the ability to throw the ball. Obviously, we want the balance we're talking about, but for the freshmen to come in and have the impact that they did, it says a lot about them. It also says a lot about Will. You know what I mean, and what we're doing and putting those guys in a position, and Rich, and and again, there's areas where we're all need to be better, but there's some areas that are really improving drastically. And part of that is drop back passing, part of that is Will playing at a high level, and some really talented receivers.
I know when you started here, there was some coaches who would get canned with a game or two left on the schedule, but now it's every Sunday there's one or two more. Do you think there's anything specific behind it, that huge change, or?
I don't know, other than just, maybe just, I don't know. I mean, I can't get in other people's heads. I do know, I think the social media presence that's real now is great on some people. You know what I mean? And that definitely, I think, is real. It takes its toll. It takes its toll on decision makers. It takes its toll on people in leadership positions. It can, let's put it that way. But
Are people around the profession like on higher alert now? I mean, or is it the same old?
I don't think they're on higher alert. I think everybody knows. You know what I mean? Like, be careful when people pat you on the back, and don't worry about it when they're talking negative. No offense. I've said that in here before. I mean, I don't. I hope y'all aren't saying bad stuff about me, because I don't read your stuff. But if you do, you better bring it to me so I know. You know what I mean? So I know who I take questions from and who I don't. No, I mean, it's hard on all of us, man. We all feel the pressure, and again, there's no amount of pressure that anybody can say or write or do that we don't feel. I mean, we live this, and for coaches, and it's hard. I mean, like yesterday, flying back, Saturday, Sunday for me, those are long. Sometimes you like the early games when you win, you hate them when you lose. You know what I mean? You gotta sit there and all day and just feel like that. It's tough. It's tough. So we, as coaches, I think all the pressure, you invest so much for your program, for your players, and so I think nobody can add to that for us.
We saw, last one, Mark, we saw a large number of Big Blue Nation make the travel, and despite the loss,
Yeah.
how does that?
Yeah, I thought that was amazing. What a great environment. I said I've never been down there before, but our fans showed up in full force and were loud, and we could hear them, and it really helped us. It was amazing, and greatly appreciate the support. It was a lot of fun. Go ahead, last one.
Just talking about the coaching industry, I'm wondering, because of the NFL, the concussion protocols back in discussion, I know you guys have strict protocols as well. And it's been a part of your culture now because of rule changes and players ejected and all that. How has that impacted you guys as coaches? Do you have to teach differently now and be cognizant, because you have to turn it all over to medical, I know, when it happens?
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's not difficult with your own players if you have a question about head injury. That's not difficult. Gabe will tell you, and we don't play around. If there's any question at all, they're going to be evaluated, given time to clear. But it's very confusing on the national level on what we're allowed to do as defense players and what you're not allowed to do. I just that part of it with the targeting and with all that is very confusing. You know, very, very confusing at the national level. You know, I thought we were getting away from some of the stuff, you know, for the protection of even the defensive players. You know, the way we tackle and hitting with the crown of your helmet. You know what I mean? I thought it was supposed to be out. But it's very hard, you know, because of the national rules on that. And, you know, heck, man, I can't even answer how to enforce it anymore. I know as a defensive coach, we are not teaching, you know, anything where your eyes are, you know, when you're hitting somebody because you're going to hurt yourself, let alone the player you're hitting. You're going to hurt yourself. You know, it could break your neck. I thought we were making some progress to getting rid of that, but doesn't seem like it anymore. You know, so I don't know. That's a national thing that we got to look at and try to get it out of the game.
All right, folks, thank you very much.
Thank you.